Very much. Recognize the gentleman from Philadelphia, Mr. Patel.
General, it's good to see you again, and I want to thank you for your extraordinary public service. I want to thank the President for all that has been done to help veterans. Every time I turn on the news, we see one of these young people coming home, and so the first thing that the administration has done is ended this war in Iraq so that our young people, rather than being killed and maimed, are coming home, and we see these celebrations all over the country. That adds to your caseload. But I think when we talk about the backload, I want the public to know that every single veteran gets 5 years of health care while you're working through these various claims. Nobody's not being treated or not being helped. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So I think because it's very important that the public understand what's going on here. But I want to get to, I met with your team around all of the brain-related diseases and disorders. And we got an extraordinary briefing about the great work that's being done. I want to tell you that this is an area that I'm very interested and focused on, and I know that the VA has been part of the interagency working group that I created with the language out of my other job as I'm ranking on Commerce, Justice, Science. So, but VA has been an extraordinary part thereof, and the recommendations about how we might deal with some of these brain-related diseases and disorders is very important, and I'm working with the chairman of this subcommittee to make sure that the VA's work, and that's where I want to focus my question, is as robust as possible. You're doing a lot of great work for over 6 million veterans. I just want to focus in just for the day on one area. That's the Epilepsy Centers of Excellence. This is something that's been remarkable inside the VA. There's an issue in the 2014 spend plan about whether we meant 6 or whether we meant 8 million. And there have been some efforts, particularly in the chairman's state, to expand out in San Antonio on the epilepsy front. So it's my intention, General, is to see that in the 2015 that we're clear that we mean 8 million, not 6 million. I think that the staffing view of this is a little different, but I'm going to work with the chairman because I'd hate for us to have to retrench those efforts in Texas. And this is very important. Epilepsy is not just an issue for the VA. It's an issue for the entire country. And the work you're doing is at the very cutting edge. So we don't want any retreat. We don't want to equivocate. I could talk to you about 100 other brain-related diseases and challenges. I just want to put this one on your mind and remind you that, in addition to that we're going to have the wheelchair basketball championships in Philadelphia. I was at the VA on Valentine's Day. I spent Valentine's Day with our veterans at the VA hospital in Philly. A lot of happy veterans. I didn't find any complaints. And I know I talked to the veterans, and they believe they're getting excellent service at the hospital there from your team. And but I also want to make sure you know that you're welcome to come in and toss that ball up.
Let me just ask Dr. Petzel to make a comment on the epilepsy centers.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Congressman, I am very familiar with the specific example that you mentioned around epilepsy. You know, our veterans are really getting a particularly good deal, if you will, from the investments that have been made in neurosciences. I don't think there's anybody in the country that's invested as much research money particularly, but also patient care money in these specific centers of excellence. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, epilepsy, a number of other
you got an MS process going on. You got a lot of great things going on, and we're going to.
We do.
Me and the chairman will work together. We're going to beef these up even more robustly. But go ahead. And
we think it's extremely important that the veterans, again, that are returning with these neurologic injuries from conflicts are presented with the absolute best care that's available, and we do that in these centers of excellence. I'd be happy to talk with you about epilepsy particularly.
I thank you, and Sam said that I was making sure that the chairman heard me. Look, I know that the ranking member and chairman are going to make these decisions, but there's one thing I'm interested in is making sure that we get from 6 to 8 million on the epilepsy centers. So I'm going to be aggressive and interested in this matter. Thank you.
privilege it is to work with you on the National Science Foundation, CJS subcommittee, to make sure we're also making those investments on the sciences end for the, in addition to the work that y'all are doing. Thank you very much.